This really isn't something that we're going to be able to change quickly.
I won the case, and this issue, frankly, has been going on when I had no children at all. Melody, I now have 2 children, as you know, so it's an arduous process, but again, it's just me standing up for what's right, which I think is important across the board.
Even when Will and Kate came over, and I had met her for the first time they came over for dinner, I remember I was in ripped jeans and I was barefoot. It's like I was a hugger. I've always been a hugger. I didn't realize that is really jarring for a lot of Brits.
For years, Buckingham Palace has been a fortress of polished smiles, whispered rumors, and secrets locked tighter than the crown jewels. But hidden behind routine letters and royal formalities was something no one was ever supposed to find. A private message written by Queen Elizabeth II herself. Not a statement for the public, not history for the archives. A secret. And now Kate Middleton has come across it. One envelope, tucked away where it didn't belong, suddenly in the hands of the future Queen Consort. But the question is, what truth was the Queen hiding in those lines? And why was this letter buried for so long, waiting for Kate to be the one to uncover it? Before the Queen's secret letter ever surfaced, there was a long, complicated history between Elizabeth II, Meghan Markle, and Kate Middleton. To understand why the letter mattered so much, you need to know the context, the behind-the-scenes tension, the rumored cold shoulders, and the public backlashes that made their relationships anything but simple. From the beginning, Meghan faced an uphill climb in the royal family. Married to Prince Harry in 2018, she quickly became the center of media storms. Paparazzi, tabloids, and online gossip dissected every outfit, every smile, and every bump during her pregnancies. Some stories painted her as ambitious but out of touch, while others claimed she was disrupting palace traditions. For Elizabeth II, who had spent decades balancing public image with family privacy, Meghan's arrival was complicated.
Kate Middleton allegedly burst into tears after Meghan Markle compared Princess Charlotte unfavourably to her best friend Jessica Mulroney's daughter during a bridesmaid fitting ahead of the royal wedding.
Rumors swirled that the Queen was cautious about Meghan from the start. Unlike Kate, who had married into the family years earlier and earned trust gradually, Meghan's path was faster and more scrutinized. Palace insiders whispered about disagreements over protocols, from how Meghan handled official engagements to her desire to modernize the royal image. There were reports that some courtiers felt she was too assertive, too independent, a stark contrast to the image of a future queen consort like Kate, who was seen as calm, composed, and reliably diplomatic.
But actually, it was going back right to the beginning when we were looking at the different ways in which we could all work with the foundation. And I suppose I'd learnt through sort of meeting some of my patronages that there was sort of all these underlying causes across so many different sectors. Mental health just kept on flagging up every time, whether it's with addiction or school support and with vulnerable young children. So it's something that I felt very passionate about. It's obviously such a huge topic. It wasn't as big as I actually thought it was, but it was something that I think all 3 of us at the time felt that we really could make a far bigger impact together.
By the time Meghan announced her pregnancies, tensions inside the palace had escalated. The public loved the Duchess of Sussex's story, an American actress marrying into royalty, then becoming a mother, but behind closed doors, the Queen and other senior royals were reportedly worried about inconsistencies and the media frenzy surrounding her. The rumors intensified. Some claimed Meghan's appearances during pregnancy didn't always match expectations, fueling tabloid speculation about the authenticity of her announcements. While Elizabeth II never publicly confirmed anything, palace aides allegedly noted her private concerns, preferring caution over confrontation.
You have the most enormous bump, and your tiny little ankles are bracing themselves in these high heels, but all of my weight was in the front.
Right.
So you're just going, how on earth? Like people,
How on earth?
How on earth am I not just tipping, face planting? It's like I'm all clinging very closely to my husband. It's like, please don't let me fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How on earth indeed, Angela Levin. How on earth? And how coincidental that we get this explanation this week. What do you make of it?
Social media, otherwise she wouldn't have heard anything about it. So that's one. The second one is that I've had 3 babies and I have never, ever known anyone with one baby to have such an enormous stomach. She looks as if she's carrying quads.
Meanwhile, the Queen's bond with Kate remained strong. For years, Kate had built trust through quiet loyalty and a careful navigation of royal life. She was seen as dependable, poised, and someone who understood the weight of the monarchy, qualities that reportedly made Elizabeth more comfortable in their interactions. Public appearances, private events, even casual chats with staff reportedly highlighted the Queen's preference for Kate's approach to royal duties. That dynamic only deepened the contrast with Meghan, whose relationship with the Queen was perceived as more formal, sometimes distant, and complicated by outside pressures. Major incidents fueled public scrutiny as well. From Meghan and Harry stepping back as senior royals in 2020 to their controversial interviews and media statements, the Queen was forced to balance family loyalty with the preservation of the monarchy's reputation. Elizabeth was reportedly concerned about the strain on the institution and the perception of fairness, how to protect her grandchildren, maintain respect for tradition, and manage the global audience watching every move. By the time the Queen's health began to decline in her final years, rumors around Meghan intensified. Some insiders claimed Elizabeth was particularly careful about private interactions with Meghan, favoring Kate in more personal settings. While nothing was officially confirmed, it added another layer to the perception that Meghan struggled to fully gain the Queen's trust. Now, when we talk about the letter, it wasn't supposed to exist. At least, not for anyone outside the Queen's inner circle. For decades, Buckingham Palace handled scandals quietly. Missteps were managed behind closed doors, and the monarchy's image remained untouchable. Meghan Markle changed that. Her rapid rise in the royal family, her global media presence, and Harry's devotion stirred tension the palace hadn't seen in decades. The Queen's letter was direct. Written privately, it addressed Meghan's claims about her pregnancies, her behavior within the family, and the growing media frenzy surrounding her. Elizabeth II warned that maintaining appearances without honesty would backfire. She stressed the importance of truth, family duty, and the potential consequences if Meghan continued to mislead. It wasn't a casual note. It was a clear message from the head of the monarchy, intended to correct behavior quietly before public fallout escalated. Kate Middleton found the letter almost by accident while reviewing routine correspondence. The envelope was small, tucked behind official documents. Elizabeth's elegant handwriting immediately caught her attention. This wasn't gossip or rumor. It was the Queen herself questioning Meghan's actions and expressing concern for the family's reputation. Historically, the royal family has handled similar situations through private communications. During Princess Diana's era, letters and memos circulated addressing her public interviews and statements. These private messages guided behavior without causing public scandal. The Queen's letter to Meghan followed the same tradition, but carried unique weight given the unprecedented media scrutiny Meghan faced. The context made the letter explosive. The Queen had never dealt with a situation like this. A family member entering the institution so quickly, dominating global headlines, and seemingly pulling Harry away from his established role. Public mockery, memes, and cartoons further amplified the embarrassment. For Elizabeth II, decades of careful image management were at risk, and the letter reflected her frustration, concern, and desire to protect the monarchy. Tabloids have always analyzed every word with speculation about Meghan, Harry, and Kate's involvement. Previously, Meghan's high-profile interviews, especially the explosive conversations on platforms like CBS and Apple TV, presented her version of events, claims of isolation, lack of support, and public judgment. These stories resonated with millions worldwide, cementing her image as a strong, outspoken figure who challenged the old-school monarchy. Meanwhile, the palace narrative told a different story. Senior royals and aides, privy to private interactions and protocols, reportedly felt frustrated. From their perspective, Meghan and Harry's public disclosures violated the unspoken rules of discretion and family loyalty. The letter discovered by Kate Middleton is a perfect example. It underscored private concerns about honesty and the potential fallout of public statements. To the palace, certain claims in Meghan's narrative didn't align with the reality they had observed behind the palace walls, whether about her pregnancies, her interactions with staff, or her understanding of royal duties. The tension became particularly visible with media reactions and public events. Memes and cartoons poking fun at Meghan's actions circulated online, further blurring the line between personal scrutiny and public judgment. Every public appearance, interview, or philanthropic announcement by Meghan was instantly compared against palace expectations and protocol. Even small missteps were magnified, creating a continuous feedback loop. The more Meghan presented her story publicly, the more the palace struggled to maintain control over the narrative. Kate's role in all this added another layer. Holding the Queen's letter placed her in a unique position. She now had insight into both Meghan's public narrative and the palace's private concerns. Her understanding of protocol and her trusted position within the family meant she could anticipate the potential consequences of leaks, interviews, or public statements. The result is a modern clash between image and institution. Meghan's public narrative highlights independence, transparency, and advocacy. The palace emphasizes loyalty, discretion, and the preservation of tradition. And in the middle of it all, Kate and William navigate a minefield, protecting the monarchy while responding to a world that demands access, explanation, and instant reactions. Now, it just isn't about Kate. Prince William has also started to show his position very clearly. He reportedly doesn't want any ties with his brother, even though King Charles is trying to bring Harry back into the fold. William has made it clear that protecting the monarchy and preserving its stability comes first, and he sees Harry's actions with Meghan as a serious threat to both. The Queen's letter only strengthened William's resolve. It highlighted private concerns about Meghan's behavior, her public narrative, and the potential damage to the royal family. For William, this isn't just about personal feelings. It's about the institution itself. Every leak, every interview, and every headline questioning royal integrity increases the stakes, and he isn't willing to compromise on that. Despite Charles' attempts at reconciliation, William seems determined to maintain distance. Reports suggest he's focused on boundaries, limited private contact with Harry, controlled family appearances, and ensuring the palace's message remains consistent. He understands that any sign of weakness could be exploited by the media or by those looking to stir division, which would risk undermining decades of careful monarchy management. The tension between the brothers is real. William values loyalty, but he also knows that Harry's independent path, combined with Meghan's public narrative, has shaken the family and exposed vulnerabilities. The Queen's letter, now leaked, only confirms that certain behaviors won't be overlooked, and that the stakes for the institution outweigh personal reconciliation. Now, when this news of the Queen's letter reached Meghan Markle, the impact was immediate. Sources suggest she felt blindsided and frustrated, not necessarily by the content alone, but by the fact that such a deeply private family matter had become public. The letter, meant to address honesty, protocol, and family duty, now sat in headlines, memes, and viral social media threads. To Meghan, it wasn't just a message from the Queen, it was a signal to the world that her private actions were being scrutinized, judged, and exposed. The leak sent shockwaves through her team. Public relations experts scrambled to control the narrative, but the damage was already done. Unlike previous royal controversies, Meghan's world operates under intense public pressure, amplified by the digital age. Every reaction, tweet, and comment is dissected within minutes. For someone who has built a personal brand while also attempting to navigate royal life, the Queen's letter exposed a vulnerability she could not easily spin. In response, Meghan reportedly doubled down on controlling her story. She leaned heavily into interviews, social media statements, and public appearances, emphasizing personal truth, independence, and advocacy work. The goal was clear: maintain public sympathy, assert control, and redirect attention to her personal achievements and philanthropic initiatives. Every statement was measured to counter the narrative created by the letter and the subsequent media frenzy. At the same time, Meghan and Harry began exploring ways to create financial independence and protect themselves from the vulnerabilities of palace life. Meghan, in particular, pushed for business ventures, partnerships, and media projects. From lifestyle brands to creative content, the aim was to generate income and maintain relevance outside the royal structure. Harry, who had always supported Meghan's ambitions, worked alongside her, using his platform and media experience to navigate these new ventures. However, not all of these efforts have been successful. sources indicate that several projects have flopped or failed to gain traction. Some ventures struggled due to poor timing, others due to public skepticism, and many because of the lingering tensions surrounding their royal past. The public's perception of Meghan as someone too ambitious or out of touch with reality complicated matters further. Social media commentary and viral memes often overshadowed the businesses themselves, turning potential revenue streams into public debates over motives and credibility. The financial challenges were compounded by family tensions. William and Kate's responses to the letter, particularly William's firm stance on boundaries with Harry, made the reconciliation process complicated. While King Charles reportedly tried to mediate, Harry found himself in the middle. Loyal to Meghan, yet aware that his actions directly influenced the family's stability and public image. Harry's role has been both supportive and reactive. He publicly defended Meghan when criticism escalated, but privately, he had to navigate the delicate balance between his brother, his father, and the palace's long-term expectations. The leaked letter also reignited debates about Meghan's pregnancies, an issue that had previously been shrouded in rumors and media speculation. Some outlets amplified the Queen's warnings in the letter, suggesting that certain claims may not have fully aligned with palace observations. Meghan's team attempted to manage this narrative by emphasizing personal experiences, private struggles, and her right to privacy. Yet each response seemed to generate more scrutiny rather than diffuse it. Amidst this turmoil, Meghan and Harry have attempted to leverage their brand for legitimate business opportunities. They launched media projects, speaking engagements, and production companies, aiming to capitalize on their global fame. Yet many initiatives have faced criticism for being self-serving or overhyped. Some deals reportedly fell through, while others failed to reach the projected audience engagement. The couple's strategy has been bold, but in an environment where every move is publicly dissected, success has proven harder to achieve than anticipated. Even philanthropic efforts have been under the microscope. While Meghan has championed causes from women's rights to mental health awareness, critics often frame these initiatives as attempts to divert attention from palace controversies. The letter, now public, became a reference point in these discussions, further complicating her attempts to present herself as a positive force independent of the monarchy. Harry's involvement has also been a part of the news. He remains fiercely protective of Meghan, publicly defending her against media attacks while privately negotiating the complex terrain of family relationships. Sources indicate that Harry's focus has been split between supporting Meghan, managing the fallout of the leaked letter, and maintaining his own public image. He's caught between loyalty to his brother and wife, the expectations of his father, and the scrutiny of a global audience that watches every step. The tension between Meghan's public narrative and palace reality has never been more apparent. Every venture she undertakes is measured against a backdrop of leaked letters, media commentary, and palace protocol. Now when the Queen's letter scandal dropped, it immediately put the spotlight back on a pattern that has basically defined Harry and Meghan's life. Wanting privacy, but constantly talking family drama on massive platforms. They've tried to step back from royal duties, claiming they want peace for themselves and the kids, yet every move somehow ends up trending online, going viral, or making global headlines. The struggle to balance privacy and public life is real and messy. This clash first exploded during their high-profile interviews and media projects. Meghan openly shared the struggles of adjusting to palace life and the pressure cooker of royal expectations, instantly making headlines worldwide. Not long after, the Netflix series chronicling their move to North America gave personal insight into their lives, but also subtly shaded senior royals and palace rules. Even when the projects were framed as professional or creative, family tensions always bled through, blurring the line between private venting and public storytelling. Over the next couple of years, the trend kept going. Meghan discussed mental health challenges and the constant media pressure while Harry appeared on podcasts and interviews defending their decisions. Each appearance added layers to a public narrative that highlighted vulnerability, tension, and drama, basically turning their private life into global conversation. Here's the paradox. They want privacy, but their public statements ensure the world stays glued to every move. Memes, viral posts, international coverage, nothing stays quiet anymore. Even small details are amplified into full-blown discussions about family, loyalty, and protocol. The Queen's letter leak is just the latest example, showing that every revelation keeps this cycle spinning. The upcoming interview, if it drops, will probably follow the same pattern. They'll frame it as clarifying the story, but it'll also bring a tidal wave of attention from the palace, media, and public. Their effort to control the narrative might just make the spotlight brighter. At the end of the day, the letter scandal is a perfect snapshot of Harry and Meghan's challenge: wanting space, but living life under global eyes. But what do you think about this royal drama? Do you side with Kate, Meghan, or just think it's all tabloid chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and before you go, make sure you hit that subscribe button.